Thorium. Okay, guys, I spent I don't know how many hours last night diving into this. A lot of you already have been introduced to it. I was too. I ripped this, rip meaning recouped investment and profited. I didn't leave in free tokens. This is a while back because I started to look at it. My brain started to hurt, trying to wrap my head around what they were trying to do. And it just wasn't that established. So I took my profits and I left. I originally found this in our private Discord in the bucket. On June 12th, and that's why I was able to recoup investment profit on this thing. But now that I have spent the time to really dive in, which wasn't easy for me, I'm not highly technical, and I just don't like to, read as much as I had to here. There's so many projects, since then we've done Everrise. We found that in our Discord. Mini Doge was 100x in a couple of days. Baby Cake was about 100x in about 5 days from when it launched. There's been so many, right? You can't do them all. But I couldn't ignore this chart. When you look at when it launched here on June 21st, and again, we knew about it on the 12th. So that's how I was able to get in early enough to rip. But when you look at this, like, this is crazy. This is crazy. It's now sitting at a $42.5 million market cap. And, you could say, well, it's going to dump. Well, I mean, this is forming a really impressive channel that's pretty rare. Like Mini Doge, Everrise, Baby Cake, lots of good ones. You usually see with those a major spike early and then down. The way this is forming here is pretty unprecedented on the Binance Smart Chain and at this particular time. And so a lot of people are calling this Safemoon 2.0. At first, I just thought that was hyperbole, but I actually think this has a legitimate high probability chance. I'll say that again, high probability chance of doing $1 billion market cap. And I don't throw that around very often. A couple 100 million is usually like the unprecedented benchmark, because it's so rare to see what Safemoon did and a few others. But this really does have that potential. So I'm going to break down why. You're going to need to be patient with me. It's going to be a longer video because I'm going to go through all of this. This is for those of you that really want to understand Thorium and want to know how you can participate. There is a pre-sale happening tomorrow. By the time some of you see this video, it might be too late, but you're at least going to, if you are too late to catching that pre-sale that they're launching, you're going to understand all of this and be able to catch the next one and just kind of at least be aware of what might be happening here, which is one of those extremely rare unicorns, as we call them, that can do $1 billion or more. Again, you never know what's going to happen in crypto, but I've taken part in Mini Doge pre-sale, which did 100 million market cap, Everrise, which did way over 50 million pre-sale. Baby Cake, I got in right when it went on PancakeSwap. A lot of people in our community got into the pre-sale. I decided to get in on PancakeSwap, and dozens of others that have 10x'd, 50x'd. I've been around the block a few times with these projects. After diving into this, I legitimately believe this has the potential to do the really rare steep climb all the way up. Obviously, they'll be selling and stuff along the way. For those of you that are new, for example, it was at 0.02 cents, and then it dropped down to 12 cents. Like, if that kind of stuff is going to shake you or make you confused, that means it can still go up, then you've got a lot to learn. Like, yeah, it can do that. You're going to see that it does that. But look at the overall structure while I'm going to be selling and stuff along the way. This will be one that I'm building a position in. I'm only building a position in 2 right now. You can watch my other videos and know what the other one is. Mostly what I do is pre-sales because you can get such ridiculous returns. Or when I say pre-sale, it could be referred to as an ITO, depending on how it's set up. Like this one's an ITO. I'll talk about that. The one that's launching tomorrow, which they're calling ThunderBNB. I'm getting in on that pre-sale. I'm going to talk about all that, the ITOs. It's kind of like, I'm just going to call that pre-sales. I just mean like launches, introducing to the world for the very first time. Some people refer to certain ones as fair launches. I mean, they just come out on PancakeSwap and there wasn't a pre-sale. I refer to all of that as pre-sales just for quick communication, just projects that are coming out early. I usually focus on those because that's how I generate a lot of funds. But then I'm taking those funds and I take some of it and put some of it into Ethereum, et cetera, a percentage of it, I take a percentage of it, of course, to put into more pre-sales to keep expanding the amount that I can do. But also what I'm generating off of the pre-sales, I'm putting into building positions. And what I'm trying to say here is it's pretty rare that I'll build a position on the Binance Smart Chain. I'm usually just doing the pre-sales or the early pancake swap launches and taking those quick returns, maybe leaving in some free tokens to keep selling as they go up. But this is one of the rare ones that I am building a position in. So I'm going to be generating more pre-sale, participating in other pre-sales. We use our Discord here to find them all, talk about them, know which ones to get into. We're extremely organized. I'll put a link to that if you don't know about our Tribe on Nerd community. And I'm going to take the funds that I'm earning and build a position in this. And I'll just tell you right now, the other one's Fat Cake, because it's an awesome cake rewards token that's building an awesome utility. And there's also something called Blissful Planet, but they haven't gotten their marketing together. So I'm kind of waiting before I begin building a position there. So just the two. And that's how rare it is for me to build a position long term. Thoreum's definitely one of them because I think it has a good chance of doing what Safemoon did, which is really, really rare. I've never said that before. Okay, so let's dive in. This is going to be something, but I'm going to make it so much easier than it was for me. The first thing I realized was if you go to their Telegram, and I'm in the Thoreum official group, it says 144,000 members. I believe those are all legit. They have other groups too, like their ThunderBNB group, which is launching in 10 hours. There's over 50,000 people in that. I mean, they've definitely got a rare, hold on the marketplace, is attention. But I think it's just the beginning. So we're going to talk about why I think that. I will mention one of the first things I noticed when I came in here researching this is there's a lot of people in here that are kind of introverted. They don't like to help out. They'll be annoyed when you ask questions. They'll say, can't you read the site? And some of that's a legitimate thing, but not real personable. But then there are, when you have a large community, you're going to get that. There's another group in here that are really helpful, typically the mods, and there'll be a handful of others that are helpful, but just know you might get some of that. And the reason I kind of came to the conclusion that you get a little bit more of the kind of cold shoulder than you typically would, and just don't take it the wrong way, because there are great people and they're willing to help. But it's just because it has so much going for it, and it's not a personality driven project. Safemoon got to where they did predominantly early on based on the AMAs, the live video interviews that they would do. And there was a lot of personality behind it. And you see that typically be what dictates the success of these projects. If they've got a lot of communication coming from the owners and devs, in fact, that's one of our crypto pre-sale indicators, because typically 99 times out of 100, that's extremely important. And they had that early going with this project. But since then, it's really become more of a DeFi project that's just supported by the community. And because it's got so much going for it in terms of what they've built into this that I'm going to go over, you're not going to get as much personality, and you're not going to get as many people like, trying to hype it up or welcome people in. You're getting some of it. You get it from the mods. Don't misunderstand me. But the video I'm going to go over should be extremely helpful for those of you that want to know the whole scoop, but might get a little bit of the cold shoulder if you start asking questions that you can find the answer to on the website. They're just, most of the people in there just aren't going to want to answer those questions, which is fine. I mean, DeFi is supposed to allow you to participate with smart contracts, especially when they are audited. And this one was audited. It is a CertiK audited project, smart contract, meaning CertiK has looked over it inside and out and has given it a rave review. CertiK is the most expensive audit you can have because it's the most thorough. And it's pretty rare to come across these projects this early on the Binance Smart Chain that's done one. Last I heard, it costs about $30,000 to do one. They got it through. A lot of times you'll hear that they're pending and they'll finally get through. This one's been done. And when you have a CertiK audited smart contract that checks out this thoroughly, the big promise for the DeFi market is that they call it a trustless system. You don't have to trust personalities. You don't have to trust people behind the project, because the smart contract has to run the way it was designed and is said to run. And so, it is kind of cool in a sense that, they don't have to have this group of people that are personalities behind it that have, be the deciding factor of if this goes up or not. It's growing extremely well, just based on the, this is Thundercake, by the way. This is another one that they've launched just recently. I'll come back to that. I meant to open this one up as I was speaking there. Thoreum, you look at this, the main the main token behind this, this ecosystem, and Thoreum, we could also refer to as a launchpad. Again, I'll talk about all of that. But when you look at this, like this is early on, yes, they had the owner or founder there communicating and stuff to get it going, which is great. But since then, that's backed off and it's just strictly development and community driven. And it's pretty impressive that since then, it just continues to rise. And it's because of what they built. And what I'm saying is it's really what the promise of the DeFi market is to be able to have that, to be able to see something grow just based on the functioning of a high integrity smart contract that works the way it's supposed to work and that doesn't have any wormholes in it that, you know, a founder could use to pull the rug on everybody. And this is CertiK audited, never a guarantee 100%, but again, the highest standard in the market to get a CertiK audit checking this smart contract out. And the fact that it's growing without being personality driven is what I'm saying. This is kind of a rare find based on what it's already doing when you look at this chart. And by the way, this chart, we're looking at the 12-hour chart. I mean, this is from June 21st to now August 15th. We're looking at almost a 2-month chart. This is impressive. And while I typically like to get in early, and I know a lot of you probably do too, on the pre-sales and stuff, there was a rare occasion when I see something like what I saw in Safemoon. I also see it in Fat Cake, where you're getting in before a massive move. And this is just tremendous, what this is lining up to be. So let's talk about what I learned. Let's talk about each aspect of this. I will talk about how you can participate in the ITO coming up in about 10 hours, which is ThunderBNB. Thundercake had launched a couple weeks ago. That was that other chart I accidentally pulled up. We'll come back to that, which, by the way, since the pre-sale is about triple, about 3x, we're gonna, you know, and that launched on August 6th, so it hasn't been out a long time. So that was a successful launch on the Thoreum launchpad, and then ThunderBNB launching tomorrow. And if we click here, and I'm going to go over this carefully, but this launches this ITO, initial token offering, that stands for, which you could consider like a pre-sale, but it's set up differently. I'll often use those words interchangeably, but they are a little bit different. We're going to get into that as well. This launches, it ends in 10 hours and 43 minutes. So by the time you watch this video, you might have missed that, but you're still going to get a really thorough overview of how all of this ecosystem works and why a lot of people believe a $42 million, $43 million market cap, even $100 million market cap is low for this project. And again, I've never said that before since Safemoon. I got into Safemoon 3 weeks after it launched, before it did its big pump. And I actually bought at one of its all-time lows when it had come down. And a lot of people didn't see what it was about to do. But you know, you can every once in a while find one of these where the writing's kind of on the wall. No guarantees, no one has a crystal ball, but you can stack the odds really in your favor when you're looking for specific criteria. And I think this is just checking them off and then some. So let's dig in. And again, I apologize that I'll kind of be rambling and stuff. It's just because it's so much here and it's going to take time to get through it. But I assure you, it will be faster and more thorough than you can do on your own, you know, even if you put in 10 times the time. So let's dive in. I'm literally going to go through page by page and read this with you so I can give you additional insights that I gained after I had reviewed the whole thing. Because the page reads different after you've read it all and then come back and read it again. So Thoreum, world first liquidity mining coin with static rewards. What is Thoreum? Thoreum is true hyperdeflationary token, the best coin for hodling. You know, when I read that initially, I was like, it sounds like the same old, but it isn't. It does get unique. Built to be Safemoon 2.0. When I saw that, I thought it was just BS. I now realize how legit that claim actually is. Thoreum has many innovative features that help users earn and win bigger. That's true. That's what we're going to get into. Why buy and hodl Thoreum? Unique tokenomics. And again, as I start to ease into this, when I read all this the first time, I'm like, it just kind of sounds like everything else. But as you go deeper and really break it down, which I'm going to do after this little preliminary intro, you start to realize that it is quite innovative. Unique tokenomics, number one, highest buyback and burn of all coins, 10% transaction. Obviously, they got a buyback program like Everrise and a lot of others built in that helps increase the price floor a little bit, sometimes a lot. and burning of coins oftentimes seems like, just nonsense, but really over time, if you've got a legitimate project like a Safemoon, something that's really going to last and go the distance, that burning of coins does have an impact on creating a deflationary environment and increases the price of the token. So it doesn't matter when people are bragging about burning coins if the coin is never in that high of a demand, it never reaches it. But in this case, it already is showing something quite extraordinary in that regard. So that actually means something. Number two, biggest holder rewards, 40% per transaction rewarded to existing holders automatically, with 9/10 supply locked in high APR pools. The remaining 1/10 supply kept in wallet gets full 4% holder rewards, equivalent to 4% equals 40%. This is why it loses a lot of people. Like, the only people, I put out a post recently saying the only people I think that have participated in this so far and benefited are highly technical people that are really well-versed and experienced in the market, which is surprisingly not a large number. And the larger number also who have benefited from this are people who don't know what the hell they're doing, but they just kind of gambled, aped in, had a feeling, but they don't understand a lot of this stuff. And you don't really need to understand all of the technical stuff, but you do need to understand how it functions in general. And that's what I'm going to focus on, which is how Thoreum serves as a launchpad, but also a platform for an entire DeFi ecosystem. And then how these other projects like Thundercake that they recently launched plays into all of that, how it pays rewards too. And now ThunderBNB launching and the same thing, how these all work together. That's really what I want to get at. And then how to participate in the ITO once you understand how the whole ecosystem works and how these different tokens are working together to increase the price floor, create stability, and expand the market for this ecosystem. That's what I'm going to focus on. Number three, 3,500 BNB Thor's Thunder, true buyback and burn fund, filled with 10% from transfer tax. So, they got the tax, the same old story as like Everrise in general, where they're building that buyback program, and a burn fund to keep burning the tokens, continuously burning 4 to 5 million Thoreum per day and still growing steadily at a rate of 100 BNB per day. Pretty impressive, again, if you've got a token that is actually going to go the distance. That deflationary aspect is a big deal, increasing the price floor. Again, I'm going to get away from these details in a minute and go into the structure of the whole ecosystem, where I really want those of you who are less tech savvy to be able to make it to, because that's where I think you're going to be able to understand all of that, the impact of it. A lot of you understand what I'm reading here, but you don't understand the full impact of it. And it's not as important, I don't think, for the newbies and the new people entering this space to be able to participate in stuff like this, which is really the purpose of this video. Because those of you who are more tech savvy, you can read the site and you got it. So I really want to speak to the larger market here. So hang with me if you're not following the significance of these details on the front page. If you're not as experienced or tech savvy, you're going to understand after I break everything down what I'm getting at when I say this thing is going to be massive, or at least has all the probability potential to be. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. I'm not recommending that you buy this. I can't, because I'm not a financial advisor. You have to hire a financial advisor for that. But I'm going to share with you my perspectives, my opinions, and just take it as that. Do your own research, make your own decisions. You're responsible for your own trades, of course. And if you need advice, hire a financial advisor. Number four, liquidity mining. Thoreum is world first liquidity mining coin, hard capped at 5 billion, 3 billion burned at start, 0.5 billion initial supply. Investors need to join liquidity mining to get the rest, 1.5 billion Thoreum, giving new investors a fair chance to get in, unlike other tokens that only give priority early adopters. And they've got a lot of aspects to this that we're going to get into that all of you will understand, even the newbies, when we get into it, about how this is a fairer opportunity for new people coming in later in terms of getting in on the bigger opportunity, which has a lot to do with why this keeps growing. We'll get to that. It will all make sense. I'm just going to cover these fine details before we jump into the bigger picture, which is going to be more valuable probably for a lot of you that are new to all this. The most secure MasterChef 2.0, got the funniest terms. Number one, 3 audits, including CertiK audit with 0 issue, pretty big deal. Number 2, CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap listed, pretty common. earn and win bigger. Number one, Thunder Boost. Get double paid. I'm going to break this down in more detail. Like when I read it the first time, it's like it doesn't fully sink in. We're going to go over it in detail, but I just want to get through the intro because I'm going to refer back to this in a minute. Thunder Boost, get double paid with BNB BUSD or third tokens like Safemoon plus static rewards simply by holding Thoreum in Thunder Boost tax-free pool. So it's just that when you put something in the Thunder Boost, it's kind of like staking. You're getting more rewards, and I'm going to show you that. I've actually done that. I'm going to show you at work. It's just like this is paying you in so many different ways. It's like crazy. And I'll just take a pause here and reference a video I made a while back called the DeFi Gearbox. And it referenced a strategy that I had been using where I was taking earnings that I made in pre-sales and then putting a percentage of that into staking that would pay compounding. And so I'd get that compounding working for me out of a percentage of what I made from the pre-sales. This is a way to do that, but I feel much lower risk. Again, not a financial advisor, these are my opinions, much lower risk than the other ways I used to do it. So I've moved my DeFi Gearbox strategy where I get compounding working for me over here to the Thoreum ecosystem. We're going to come back to that. I'm going to show you how I've staked in the Thunder Boost section. I'm going to show you exactly what it means when it says you're getting paid, you know, in these other tokens and static reward, how that turns into profits for you, for those of you who are new. Number two, Thunder Vault, same kind of thing, just another way. And I've also done that, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. High APY, you know, so high returns for long-term holders, tax-free pool with auto compound, offering 16,000% plus APY with ease of mind. I mean, some of this, the high returns are farming, and I don't do the farming where you got to do LPs. For those of you who don't know, it's just a higher risk. I'm doing something lower risk in the Thunder Vault. I'm going to show it to you. And again, it's part of that DeFi Gearbox strategy I shared like a month ago or so, where I used to use higher risk platforms. I'm now using this to get the compounding going, which is just on top of everything else that I'm going to go into. So we'll get to that. Again, this is intense, but you're going to understand it if you stick with me, and you're going to be glad that you did. Win Lambo, by just being a true holder, earn tickets simply by holding Thoreum with no sell or transfer out. You know, and it's more than just a gimmick. I mean, like, for example, they really, you know, make it tangible what's happening with that. And you can, you see here, it says how much Thoreum I have, and it says, and I actually have more. Just so you guys know, I do have more than one account, and, you know, I don't like to like share all my accounts. I need to sometimes show one of them, and I'm just showing this one, but this shows 181 tickets in that Lambo. We'll talk about that offering to win it contest. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I don't see that as a big draw for me, but I know that it's going to be for a lot of people. Number four, take off anytime, price under pre-sale, Thor's Thunder 3,500 BNB buyback and burn fund, mining end in 39 days. After that, supply will decrease fast because the Thor's Thunder automatic true buyback and burn. And they're just saying that they've built in all these things like the buyback and the burn to really position this for a massive turn upward. And you can see that that's already started to happen. And I do believe that they figured something out here with this ecosystem where we're going to continue to see that. Obviously, though, as I said earlier, there'll be some times where it sells off. Like, that's part of that process. But look at what actually happens on the larger trend. And I believe that that trend is going to continue to happen. Again, not a financial advisor, no guarantees, no crystal ball. But I'm going to share with you my opinions, my perspectives, and if we're going to dig into this, and you're going to see why I think that. Thoreum equals Safemoon 2.0, 100x to 1000x soon. You know, so again, I really do believe it. When I first read all of this, I was like, yeah, whatever. But as I dig into this, you're going to see they really did build something genius in the ecosystem. Okay, so we've got Thunder Boost, we have Thunder Vault. Thunder Boost is paying you in, like, if you stake Thoreum, which is the main token associated with this whole ecosystem, is a Thoreum. And you could also consider Thoreum like the launchpad that's launching these other tokens like ThunderBNB and ThunderCake. I want to break that down a little bit more, but I just want you to know Thoreum's the main DeFi token for this whole ecosystem, right? And so if you stake it here in Thunder Boost, it's got an APR of 40.27%. You can click the little thing here and see how that breaks down per day, 0.11%, over a 30-day period, 3.36%, over a year, almost 50%. So this has a withdrawal lockup, Thunder Boost, for 14 days. I want to point out that the percentages aren't that extremely high in comparison to some other projects that might pay ridiculously high numbers, like 100% or more, 300% often, like Lava was one of them. When they pay too high, they're not sustainable. People try to sell and it creates a selling frenzy. It just doesn't work. But when you find that balance, and if you look at their chart, we can see that they have, when you know the balance, they clearly do based on the chart, then you start getting these returns that really rewards holders and people who stake, but the price floor keeps going up, right? And that's the magic. So the magic is that these aren't too high, that it creates that selling spree that drives the price down when you see those really high returns. And if you wonder if they've nailed it, I mean, you just look at the chart and know that they have. So you keep watching it if you need to more confirmation of that. But I believe that's one of the genius aspects behind this, is that the APR rates, the percentages that they pay out, are enough to really reward the stakers and the holders with good returns, but not so high that it's not sustainable. It's that magic spot. Okay, so what this is doing is when you stake your Thoreum, which is the main DeFi token, then you're getting paid in Thundercake. You earn Thundercake, which is their other token that I'm going to go into in a minute. And here's the beauty of this. Thundercake also pays because it's a rewards token, a reflections token. So as you're earning Thundercake and you start to make that Thundercake, you're also getting paid in Cake and Thoreum, because Thundercake pays in Cake and Thoreum. So again, you stake the Thoreum. It's pretty genius, really. You stake the Thoreum at a 40% APR right now. And when you stake the Thoreum, you're earning Thundercake, at 40% return. And then Thundercake, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute, which they launched a couple weeks ago, that was this chart that's 3x since it's launched recently. When you're earning that Thundercake, because you staked your Thoreum, you're earning free Thundercake. That Thundercake that you're earning for free is also paying you Cake and more Thoreum. Okay? And we're going to go into Thundercake in a minute and how it pays you Cake and a Thoreum, percentages and stuff. I just wanted you to get that concept. That's what Thunder Boost is. It's kind of crazy. And you can see here, I actually didn't put hardly any in because I was just testing this one. And I actually think there's another one that's even better in here, the Thunder Vault, which I'll go to in a minute. But I just wanted to show you here that, I did this last night. I put like really low number in, like $80 or whatever, something like $80 at the time I put it in there of Thoreum. And, and it hasn't paid a lot yet. It's been less than 26 cents, but it's been like 12 hours or less than I don't know, maybe 18 hours or something since I did that. And I put only like $80 in, but I've already earned 3,870 Thundercake. And what you need to understand is now this is also paying me Cake and Thoreum, more Thoreum, because now I've got Thundercake. You got that? I'm going to say it one more time for those that, maybe this is all new for. I bought Thoreum. I staked it in here just as a test, a really small about $80, so that it would start paying me Thundercake. Okay, and I've earned 3,800 free Thundercake for staking this $80 worth of Thoreum. But what you got to understand, and what I'm trying to say, make sure everyone understands, is now that I'm getting the free Thundercake, I'm also earning reflections of Cake and Thoreum. And I'm going to get those reflections during this time that I'm earning it. I get them after harvest. And this is a 14-day lockup. So I'll be able to take that out. In fact, pool will end in 9 days. Now, a lot of other projects out there, the reason why I wasn't excited about this one early, because I didn't understand something, how sophisticated their ecosystem was. Those of you who've done Lava or these other projects that pay these really high returns and they have these lockups, when the lockup ends, the price comes down. It comes crashing down because people are selling what they earned, but that's not happening here. And it's because they have so many other mechanisms at play that keep that from happening. And that's what we're going to get into. And that's really the magic sauce of this whole thing, but also why it's more comprehensive. Okay, so in 9 days and 11 hours, I'll be able to take all this out. And I won't only have earned Thunder Cake, but because I've been earning Thunder Cake, I'm also going to earn what it pays for holding, which is cake and more thorium. It's pretty genius. Okay, so there's that. That's Thunder Boost. Okay, and this is just the beginning, guys. This is just we're just scratching the surface. And that's why I say only really experienced, technically minded people have gotten into this so far, and also just people who don't know what's going on, but just kind of gambled, got excited, saw Thor over here with some lightning, saw some big numbers, aped in and kind of got lucky, but don't have a clue what everything is that's going on, and just kind of learned over time. I'm going to break all this down. So if you spend the time today, you're going to get the most thorough video that covers all of this and really reiterates things if that's what you need. If you don't need that, just read the site. And if you're already technically savvy enough that you don't need this help, instead of giving me a bad review that I repeat myself, because I'm actually doing that on purpose, just stop watching the video, go read the site, you got it. But this is for those of you who really want to understand what the heck's going on, with Thorium, Thunder Cake, ThunderBNB, the ecosystem. Why would you want to own Thorium, Thunder Cake, and ThunderBNB? How to take part in the launch, how to participate in the ThunderBNB launch tomorrow, coming up in 10 hours, I should say. I'm going to break it all down for those of you who need that help, that just reading the site isn't quite enough. Okay, so that was Thunder Boost, pretty powerful. Let's go look at Thunder Vault. So I'm going to go to Vaults right here. All right, let's just read it. Thorium holding value, keep going up after 1 month. Tokens also the reason why I sold and took my profits early was whenever you have English as a second language writing the sites, you always wonder, well, if this was as big as they're saying it's going to be, why wouldn't they take time to hire somebody who speaks, writes better English? You know what I mean? But in this DeFi world, like, it's just common. It's just the way it is. And a lot of you have read white papers of really large projects on, big projects that do that too. So it's just, for those that are kind of new, it's pretty standard. Doesn't really indicate, where the project's going to go if you see some mistakes in English. It's just not their first language, and they just don't need to take the time because, as you can see, it's really just not what it's about anymore. As long as you can follow what's going on for the most part. And I'm going to break it down. Tokens pre-sale, 485.5 million. So a lot of transparency too. Like they do give you all the information like that often you don't have access to, that take you back to what was there when they launched and everything. And that transparency, I think, is also what's had a lot to do with why this is done so well, even without a personality anymore, really driving it with AMAs and stuff. And by the way, they do have community voice lives and stuff still, but I mean, like the original devs and founders aren't out in front as much as Safemoon was, and I think it's because they've just done such a fantastic job of communicating through the site for those more technically minded, experienced people that are willing to take the time, and for people like me, they're going to break it down and pass it on to those that maybe need that extra walkthrough, like I would have enjoyed. They just did such a great job with communication through the DeFi framework, through the site, through the way it's all set up. Okay, so tokens pre-sale 489.5 million, price 35,000 Thorium per BNB. Total mined and rewarded to holders after 1 month, 489 million. Price after 1 month, 35,000. If you're not experienced in stuff, this stuff doesn't really matter to you right now. But I'm just kind of starting from the beginning to make sure I don't miss anything. While the number of Thorium is doubled after 30 days, Thorium's unique tokenomics still keep the value of each Thorium with very healthy chart movements. With the biggest holders reflection rewards of all coins, 20%. Reflections meaning, for those that are new, as you hold Thorium, it pays you more Thorium, just like Safemoon does and so many others. Thorium, which again, doesn't mean anything if the ecosystem or the token doesn't catch on, but here it clearly is. So just like with Safemoon, it does matter that it's paying you more Thorium. A lot of those projects you might think, meh, but it really matters here when you have a project that's clearly catching on and it's still in the very early stages of let's say, getting to $1 billion market cap. Thorium holders are also rewarded with tokens for mining and trading. Thorium's value is stable even if circulating supply is doubled, greatly benefiting holders. So it's really thought through and really transparent in breaking down their tokenomics. If you don't follow all of that, it's okay. Again, I'm going to focus in on what matters most. I just want to get through this. HODL to earn effortlessly. One who bought it pre-sale and hold for 1 month is already in good profit. The profit comes from many ways. Number one, Thunder Farm, earn BNB, BUSD with 1000% APR. Again, I don't do farms where there's LP. We might talk a little bit about that today. And I'm going to talk about what I am doing. I'm doing Thundervolt and Thunder Boost. We'll break into that because I'm looking for lower risk because I've got so much upside already with pre-sales, generating the funds to build a position in something like this. And there's already so much upside in using Thundervault and Thunder Boost. There's no reason to use the farms that have these really high percentage returns, but that can hurt you on the, on the LPs when there's a difference in price. For those that don't know all of that, you really don't need to. I'm going to focus on what newbies really need to know based on what I would want to know. And I think it's going to be extremely helpful. Just know that farms are higher risk than what I'm going to be focusing on with just Thunder Boost and Thunder Vault. And I actually like Thunder Vault even more, which is what we're going to dig into here. I already talked about Thunder Boost, which again, when you stake Thoreum, it pays you not only Thunder Cake, but it also in giving you that Thunder Cake pays you cake and more Thoreum because it's crazy. So Thunder Vault auto compound to earn Thoreum with 3000% APY. Number 4, highest reflection rewards for just holding in wallet. Number 5, mining in pool and farm. Mining in pool and farm. Okay, huge and steadily growing buyback and burn fund. I'm just going to acknowledge that none of this site is written for newbies or the market that it needs to reach to really grow, but it doesn't really need to now that it's proven itself. And now that it's going to have more and more people like me breaking it down so that newbies do understand it. And again, I'm not advising that you invest into this. I'm not a financial advisor. I got to say that every once in a while. You got to make your own decisions, do your own research. If you need a financial advisor, if you need advice, hire one. But the reality is, as it continues to just prove results, that's going to be what draws in the Safemoon crowd and the mainstream audience who doesn't follow much of what this site is saying. And there'll be more and more people just breaking it down in layman's terms, at least the parts that the mainstream cares about. Huge and steadily growing buyback and burn fund. Also notice that with the highest buyback and burn rate of all coins on the market at 10% transaction, Thor's Thunder Fund has surpassed 31 BNB after 1 month and increasing steadily, 100 BNB per day to keep the price floor only higher and higher. So that's that buyback feature that Everrise was, really big, famous for introducing. I don't know if they were the first that I ran into it. And the burn fund here, they're saying that they've got it built into their tokenomics just to keep increasing that price floor with their buyback program, which is very robust, and also the burn fund. Even while the BTC and BNB price are falling down so hard in recent days, at least at the time they were writing this, it's not the case anymore. Other coins also falling down, but Thoreum price is still going up. This is a stone proof that Thoreum is specially designed to benefit long-term holders. And certainly that's proven to be the case because back here, when it was still going up, everything else was going down. There's no question about that. With this value stability and a battle-tested tokenomics of Thoreum, if you hold Thoreum for long-term, you will be surely in great profit. Thoreum is literally Safemoon 2.0. Buy now or buy it 2x price later. Again, so there's obviously very forward-looking statements. And these aren't claims that I'm making. I'm simply sharing with you my opinions about why this ecosystem stands to really live up to this, the Safemoon 2.0, promise. But again, this isn't advice to purchase this. You've got to do your own research and make your own decisions. I'm just sharing with my perspectives. It's really important to keep saying that. Okay, so let's talk about the vault. If you look here, I was just playing around. I put 384,530 Thoreum into Thundervault 1. I put 402,282 Thoreum into Thundervault 2. So again, this is different from what I was showing you with Thunder Boost earlier. Remember, Thunder Boost, which is different from this, I put in Thoreum and it was paying me Thunder Cake by doing that. And with that Thunder Cake, I now am able to start getting paid cake and more Thoreum because that's what it does. That's what Thunder Cake does. That was Thunder Boost. Thunder Vault, which I think I like even better, pays me Thoreum. and that's it. Now, the jury's still out for me on which I'm going to prefer. Do I want more Thunder Cake, which is going to pay me cake rewards, or do I want just more Thorium? I mean, here I earn more Thorium. I think early on I want to earn more Thorium because I really believe that this price has the potential to go to 10x quickly, 430 million. And I know that's unusual. Like, I don't say that very often. In fact, I don't think I've ever said that before Safemoon. I was in Safemoon early. So don't think, if you just follow my videos for the first time, don't think that that's something that I project often. I don't think I've ever said anything like that before. So that's why I'm wanting Thorium, but I'm also gonna be able to take the Thorium I'm earning here, and I'll probably take a percentage of it and put it into Thunder Boost to start getting Thunder Cake, which pays me cake and more Thorium. I will definitely do that, but just getting this started. Now, Thunder Vault number 1, how does that compare to Thunder Vault number 2? Well, because they're both paying me I'm staking Thorium in both of those, and they're both earning me more Thorium. But you see, Vault number 1 pays me an APY of 25% basically, and you can click on the calculator to see what that is per day. Like in 1 day, that's 0.06%. If you look at, let's say 15 days, it's 0.95%. 90 days, 5.81% that you're earning there, getting in more Thorium. Now, this one's, but it pays you less than this one, than Thunderbolt 2, which is an APY of 55%. And you can break down, and see that this is paying much more, much more. The reason why is because this one is paying in 15 days, is only for 15 days. I can unstake it. I can get it back in 15 days without penalty. This one, I have to keep it in for 60 days to get the higher percentage. Now you can see that most people are doing the 90-day one. And I didn't do the 90-day one yet because I just wanted to test it. I wanted to go through the process. I wanted to get some released because there are other reasons I'm about to get into to participate in the ITOs. While you want to have access to some of your Thorium, you don't want it all locked up. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, which is another genius part of their whole ecosystem and what creates an ever-rising price floor. You don't want to have all of your Thorium locked up. And they've got reasons for that, and it's to participate in the ITOs, like the ThunderBNB launching tomorrow on the ITO, kind of like a pre-sale, a little different, but like a pre-sale. So we'll talk about that in a minute, why you don't want all your Thorium locked up all the time. So I only put some of it in for 15 days, so I have some of it unlocked. I put some of it in for 60 days, and I might go ahead and do the 90-day one with some that I'm going to get back. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. When I participate in the ITO, that pre-sale, let's just call it that, because I know a lot of people who follow me understand the term pre-sale, but maybe don't know ITO. That pre-sale I'm participating in with ThunderBNB launching tomorrow. I needed Thorium to do it. I'm going to go into that in a minute. And then I tried to max out what I could get. I'm going to talk about that in detail. Whatever I'm not, after I hit the max, I will talk about it more in a minute, but I'll get back some Thorium and I'll probably put it in when I get it back after that launch happens for ThunderBNB. I will put some of that in this 90-day one. But I don't want to have it all locked up too long. We're going to talk about why in a minute. But just to see the comparison between these different vaults, and there are other vaults. I'm only going to focus on these 3 for now. There's others. You can see what the percentages are and what, all what you get paid and all that. Just know that the more you lock it up, the more the higher percentages. Like if we go to the 90-day one, which I will do here soon also, you see 1 day is 0.18%, but you'll notice these aren't astronomical numbers. Like sometimes these types of projects will pay 1% or more a day and they never last. What we're seeing here is that they found, they knew that, and they found that sweet spot, as I was saying earlier, where they don't pay these astronomical amounts, which often just puts an inflationary environment in play. In other words, if they pay too much, if they give you too much percentages, then there's too much Thorium in people's hands, and then they want to sell, and then you don't get the price going up. So they found that balance of rewarding holders who stake with pretty good returns, but not going so high that it's not sustainable and that it doesn't drive the price up. So it's a beautiful situation. So anyway, so pretty straightforward, Thunder Vault. They have these different options and they pay these good returns for staking, and you get paid more Thorium for holding a Thorium. You see the percentages, and the longer you're willing to lock it up, the higher the percentage of Thorium you get. And it's pretty impressive when you see what the price action is doing, that you're able to, if you put it in 90 days, able to see a 17% increase in the number of Thorium you hold you know, or if you're willing to put it in for 60 days, see 11, almost 12% return on the number of thorium you hold. Pretty big deal if this does continue in this channel upward. Even if it held steady, it's pretty impressive. But as we can see, it's not holding steady. They put things together in such a way that, at least so far, it is doing even a little curve here, something that is indicative of a rare unicorn, they're called, like what Safemoon did. So anyway, pretty self-explanatory. I just wanted you to know, so Thunder Boost is different. You put thorium in there. It's one I showed you earlier, pays you Thunder Cake, and then that Thunder Cake pays you more cake and more thorium, which is pretty cool. Here, you put in thorium and you earn just thorium, so you get more thorium, which you could then take some of that thorium, like in 15 days, what I get out, I could put that into the Thunder Boost and get that one working for me to earn me Thunder Cake that pays me cake and thorium. You get it? It's like, it's pretty, you can get that compounding going, which was what I talked about in a video a month or so ago. I wasn't doing it with thorium because I didn't understand the full extent of it. And I was using other more higher risk compounding platforms to stake and get compounding. But I've got all my DeFi gearbox strategy here now, where in this ecosystem, I'm able to now have thorium and Thunder Cake and ThunderBNB, and even participate in pre-sales, which I'm going to get into in a minute with ThunderBNB launching tomorrow, because this is also a launch pad. In the same ecosystem, I'm now able to participate in a pre-sale and get that working for me, because you're going to get huge gains with pre-sales. And then I'm able to take some of the funds here in the same ecosystem and and get into the compounding with the staking, and even get rewards tokens like Thunder Cake from the staking, like with Thunder Boost, right? That I was talking about earlier, pays me in Thunder Cake for staking my thorium. I get paid cake and thorium. Like, I'm able to get the compounding going, but also at the same time, I'm part of this curve that is showing incredible price action. The past doesn't equal the future. No promises, no guarantees, not a crystal ball. I'm not recommending you buy this, but these are my opinions and my perspective. And I think everything's here to demonstrate that this is going parabolic. So I got this whole ecosystem. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to participate in other pre-sales. I absolutely am. I'm going to continue to use Tribe 100X to quickly sort for other pre-sales, you know, like we got into Mini Doge and Everrise and Baby Cake and all of these that have done huge returns. And then I take some of those funds and I'm going to build my position with thorium systematically, and with Fat Cake, and also potentially Blissful Planet, although again, I need to see them do more on the marketing side. But there's just a handful of projects I'm building positions in. I'm using the proceeds I make with other pre-sales, which I find and discuss and sort through, and have this whole community working together to spot, just like they spotted thorium back in June 12th, long before the pre-sale. And we discussed it extensively, all of this discussion to analyze together. And I take those proceeds and I'm going to build a position in thorium. And then I'm going to get the compounding working for me, you know, do the Thunder Vault. I'll probably do the 90-day Thunder Vault tomorrow. I'm going to get back more thorium because I participated in the ITO. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But this is an incredible ecosystem that I'm going to be building a lot of my strategy around, and using the proceeds that I make from other pre-sales to continue building. I'll put a percentage of those proceeds I make from other pre-sales into this. Whew, it is there's a lot going on. I want to get to the ITO and show you how to participate. Let's just make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to go back home and just kind of click around. Whew, I don't know if I want to. So let's talk, I think I'm going to come back to some of the other stuff and talk about what I think is the next biggest, most important part of this, and that's the ITO. And so it says Thorium Initial Token Offering. That's what ITO stands for. Again, for those of you that are kind of new to all this, just consider it like a pre-sale, but it is set up different. We'll try to get into that here. Thorium Initial Token Offering Platform. It has ThunderBNB listed, and it says pre-sale ends in 0 days, 10 hours, 6 minutes. Depending on when you see this, maybe you'll be able to participate. I'm going to show you how if you want to. If you catch this video late and you missed it, there'll be future projects launching from this launchpad and ecosystem. And so knowing this is going to help you prepare. And again, there's so many other reasons to own this besides just that. But if you can participate, I do suggest you consider it. I can't recommend that you do that. Your choice, do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. Thunder Cake pre-sale already ended. That was that other chart we looked at. It's already 3x since when it launched on August 6th. This is presently August 15th. So we're looking at just 9 days ago, it did a 3X already. Of course, it was even much higher, as they often do. But I also think this will continue to see a rise here. And that's because they've created a reason for people to hold these. Now, if you hold ThunderCake, it is a rewards token that we talked about earlier. It pays in cake rewards and also more Thoreum rewards. But the other reason why you might want to hold it is because you can use it to participate in future ITOs, in future launches of future projects. And that's what we're going to get into. And I'm going to go to ThunderBNB since it's still open. We can go look at that one. And we can see Thoreum initial token offerings, ThunderBNB ITO. And you can see, I'm going to talk about this. I participated in it. I maxed out what I could do. I'm going to talk about that so I could get the most I possibly could of ThunderBNB when it launches on PancakeSwap. You know, and I probably won't rip FT this right away. I have so much confidence in this particular project. I'm probably going to hold this one a little bit longer than I usually would, because I just think, for reasons that I'm breaking down, personal opinion, I just think this thing's truly going to the moon in a rare sort of way. So ThunderBNB ITO ends in 10 days or 10 hours, 4 minutes. PancakeSwap launch will be an hour after that. It gives you the contract address, you know, so really well organized, really. You know, if you sit down and you click on a couple of things, not too hard. And then you can click here, project site, and actually have another site that breaks down what ThunderBNB is, you know, and we'll hold off before we come back here, but we'll come back to that. So this is what I think, what I'm about to break down, what I think a lot of people are confused on, and I'm going to make it super, super simple. So right now, and I'm sure this ecosystem is going to grow. Right now, there's Thoreum. We talked about that. That's the main DeFi token for the entire DeFi platform and launchpad and ecosystem. And that's the, you know, the main one that I keep pointing to here. And then there's ThunderCake, which launched on August 6th, about 9 days ago, which is 3X'd since then. It's done more than that, but it's come down here to about 3X after 9 days, which is pretty impressive. That was the first one that they launched. And then you see WBNB. And remember, they're launching ThunderBNB right now, and that will be out as of tomorrow. And then there's right now, WBNB is another thing listed here. Let me talk about this. So it says commit fund right here, this button. And so when I first came here, it said 000. Now you see that I've committed 122,703.9 Thoreum for this one. I'll talk about why in a second and how this helps me participate in the pre-sale, AKA ITO, initial token offering. And then ThunderCake, you see I committed 36,436,575, which is the maximum. It says limit, and that's the same number. Same thing here, 122,000 Thoreum. You know, I've maxed these out. And then WBNB, which is just wrapped BNB. It's just like BNB. It's just a different format of it, which you can get on PancakeSwap. I just traded BNB for WBNB so I could do this. I think it's the first time I ever used WBNB. And it says limit 5.06 WBNB. I also committed, as it says here, 5.06 WBNB. So I maxed out how much WBNB I could commit. I maxed out how much ThunderCake I could commit, and I maxed out how much Thoreum I could commit to this ITO. And what that means is I'm going to get the maximum amount of ThunderBNB that I'm going to be able to get when this launches. But you don't know exactly how much it will be until after the fact. And this is where it gets a little complicated for those who are new. And I'm going to do my best to explain this for those that are new. If you participate in a typical pre-sale, you know, it's a little bit more straightforward, but it's got its problems that a lot of people who like ITOs and what I'm about to explain, you know, think that this solves. So in a typical pre-sale, which is a little bit more straightforward, it might be launched on DXL as a common one, right? A launchpad called DXL. And on DXL, you don't need, let's just talk about the simplest form of a pre-sale. You don't need, you know, any tokens or anything to participate. It's launching at a certain time, but it might get botted meaning a bunch of bots come in and buy it before you can, right? It might fill up too fast. Or people who have more money, you know, they're able to have a big advantage because they'll buy the maximum, like 5 BNB or whatever worth, and that fills it up too fast and you're not able to get in with much. So there's a lot of weird problems a lot of you experience with pre-sales. Again, I still love pre-sales. Don't get me wrong. They're simple. Or, you know, we made a fortune on Mini Doge, on Everrise, on Baby Cake. I mean, so many. It's just like ridiculous that we find in our Tribe 100X Discord, right? Like we've been doing that over and over again. I love pre-sales, won't stop doing pre-sales by any stretch of the imagination. But these ITOs are different, where you get to commit to one or all of these. So let's say I only was going to commit WBNB. So it tells me my limit. I can commit up to 5.06 WBNB. I'm not going to know exactly how many ThunderBNB tokens I'm going to get in the ITO until after the fact. And here's why. But whatever I don't buy, I just want you to know, I'll get my WBNB back. So here's how it works. It tells you the total committed by the entire community. It shows that 3,009, I love the transparency of these, 3,098 now, 3,098 WBNB have committed by other people in total who want to participate, you know, in getting ThunderBNB when it launches. Let's just call it a pre-sale in the ITO. And it shows here that that's 382% of what they needed to raise. The funds to raise was 810. And so they're almost 4 times past that. And so what they'll do is they'll proportionately make sure that everybody who contributed some WBNB gets a fair proportionate amount of ThunderBNB from the launch, and then they're going to send back the WBNB. So a lot of my, only about 25%, you know, not exactly because this isn't 400%, but only about, let's just keep it simple just for the point, only about 25% of my WBNB will be actually used because they went past what they're trying to raise. They're just going to make sure that everybody, I'll get the maximum I was able to get. And other people that put in 5.06 WBNB, they'll get the maximum that they're able to get from the WBNB commitment. You know, the maximum amount of ThunderBNB I can get from the ITO. But because almost 400%, it's gone past, way past what they're trying to raise, they're going to actually send back a lot of my WBNB. And they're going to send it back to a lot of people. Theirs too. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. A lot of people feel it's a fairer way to participate. You don't have bots. You don't have as many shenanigans or opportunities for shenanigans. So even if you didn't follow all that, just know I've committed the maximum. And because they went over how much they needed to raise, they're actually going to send everyone who participated back a lot of their WBNB, and we'll just all get a fair proportionate amount of the ThunderBNB tokens in the ITO. Now, you could just participate in the WBNB commitment, but if you want to get more ThunderBNB, you can also participate with ThunderCake. And so I could put up to, had a limit of 36,436,575 ThunderCake that could also commit. And I maxed that out as well. And this is what helps stabilize the price of ThunderCake and increase the price floor. In addition to the other things, you know, in addition to the fact that holding ThunderCake pays you cake rewards and more Thoreum rewards, but it's also creating stability and an increasing price floor that for people to participate in future projects that are in an ITO that are launching off this launchpad, you can own ThunderCake, commit ThunderCake, and get even more of the crypto they're launching in the ITO. So I also contributed the maximum. You can contribute as much as you want. You could, you know, you don't need to contribute the maximum. You know, this says limit, it could say max, just means that's the maximum I can contribute, and I did. But notice that they are, so many people are into this project, they are 1,136% over the funds they need to raise that were, you know, allocated to be raised from ThunderCake. So what that means is a ton of my ThunderCake is going to be sent back to me and to everybody else. And I'm just going to get the maximum, you know, in comparison to everybody else, I'll have the maximum that I could have gotten of ThunderBNB, because I participated with the maximum amount that I could get from the Thunder Cake commitment. I still got to talk about this one over here. So let me say again, I could have just done the WBNB one, but because I did all three, I'm going to get 3 times as much as if I just did of ThunderBNB on the launch as I would have if I only did the WBNB. But if you wanted to, you could just do the WBNB one. You could just do the Thunder Cake one, and you don't have to put, the full amount in. That's just saying that's the maximum you can put in. But I also maxed out the Thoreum one. So I bought Thoreum so I could participate in this as well. And the maximum, it says limit, but it also means maximum, was 122,703 that I could commit to the Thoreum. So that gave me even more ThunderBNB. The more you put in up to the maximum, the more ThunderBNB you'll get. You can see I committed the maximum or the limit. And so because I did all three, I've maximized how many ThunderBNB I'm going to get tomorrow when the ITO launches on PancakeSwap. I don't yet know exactly how much ThunderBNB I'm going to get, because it depends on how far over, they go in each of these in terms of how much I'm going to get. The point is, though, they're going to return a lot of my Thoreum because they went 580% over, and it's going to keep going up between now and then. So most of my Thoreum is going to be returned to me, but I got the maximum I could get. So hopefully that makes sense, that you can participate in 1, 2, or all of these commitments. You can commit Thoreum to participate in the ThunderBNB ITO and in future projects. You could commit Thundercake to participate in the ThunderBNB ITO, or you could just participate with WBNB. There's a maximum, they call it a limit, of what you could contribute for each of those sections. If you could do 1, 2, or all of these, if you want to maximize how much ThunderBNB you get in this case, or in future ITOs, whatever they're launching, if you want to maximize how much you get before it launches on PancakeSwap, you would maximize all 3 of these. If you can't afford to do that, you could put a little bit in each one, or you could put a whole bunch in one of them. You could just do the Thundercake one, or just the WBNB one, or the Thoreum one. Just remember that if they go over what they're trying to raise, which they have in all 3 cases, they're going to send a lot of what I put in back because they went over what they're aiming to raise. So I'll get a lot of WBNB back, but I've maximized what I can get in ThunderBNB, and I'll find out tomorrow how much that was, depending on how many people participate. Same thing with Thundercake. I'm going to get a lot of Thundercake back because they're over 1,100% over. So I'll get a lot of my Thundercake back, and I don't mind, because that's going to, when I hold that, that's going to pay me cake rewards, and that's going to pay me more Thoreum rewards, and I'll be able to use that to participate in future launchpad, ITOs, future projects they're launching. And Thoreum, same thing. I don't mind that I'm gonna get a lot of this back because they raised much more than they need, but I got the maximum I could get, and it's fair and proportionate to what everyone else contributed. And there's no opportunity for bots. There's no opportunity for weird shenanigans. That's why a lot of people like these ITOs, even though they're a little bit more complicated. And even though I don't know exactly how much ThunderBNB I'm gonna get, I know that I've maximized what I could get. And if you only have a little to invest with, that you got in, you know what I mean? And you got a fair amount, proportionate to everybody else. You see, that's how it's different from a pre-sale. I hope that made sense. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section. So pre-sale information, number 1, funds to raise. So it breaks down what they're doing and what they're raising in a very organized way. 400,000 USD is what they're raising, 80% in BNB, 10% in Thoreum, 10% in Thundercake. So it breaks down what they're aiming to raise. The BNB raised will be used to create PancakeSwap liquidity, 75%, which is good. I just participated in a pre-sale the other day, and they didn't put hardly anything in the liquidity. And so it really moves the price, like when you sell, you know what I mean? Like dramatically, and you can't sell very much. You want a lot of liquidity. So, this is all good planning, which, again, is a part of building a strong community that has a lot of faith in the projects and the future launches, because they're doing the right things. They're putting a lot of liquidity in there, and they're telling you what it is. So the BNB raise will be used to create PancakeSwap liquidity, 75%, and for marketing fund, 25%. And you see this, you see the ads, like that's also why it's growing. They built in intelligently a lot going into the marketing. You see them doing it, and that's what's translating into this incredible chart is that they do take care of the marketing consistently, and it's expanding. It's a lot to do with why I think this is going to continue to grow. The thunder cake raised will be burned. Tax will be announced in Telegram and recorded. So they're really on top of it. They're really organizing their communication, and they're continually burning tokens and announcing it, which again, in a lot of projects, they do that doesn't mean much because they never catch on. But in a project that catches on like this, when they're burning tokens and it's decreasing the supply, it really does have a big impact on the price. Like things start to all go into motion, including that increased price floor when they're burning, when the project catches. We saw that with Safemoon and a few others, but a lot of them, they never catch at this level. And so that deflationary component doesn't matter. Here, it's really having an impact, and I think it will continue to. Number two, ITO estimated time. All this really organized, telling you when it's going to happen, both the pre-sale and the pancake swap launch. It's impressive. ITO structure, total tokens, so you can read this. ITO price, it's breaking down what the price is, per million ThunderBNB. It's showing you what the price is when you commit with Thoreum. It's a little bit less than if you commit with WBNB. Again, incentivizing that use of Thoreum, increasing the price floor of Thoreum so people can participate in these launches. It's a little bit, you're getting a better deal when you commit with Thoreum versus WBNB. Again, I maximized all three of them, WBNB, Thundercake, and Thoreum, but they are incentivizing. That's why you see more people using Thundercake and Thoreum than WBNB. This way they only went 382% over what they're raising. Thundercake, 1,100% over what they're trying to raise. Thoreum, 586% over what they're trying to raise, because you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting more ThunderBNB in this ITO when you use Thoreum or Thundercake as opposed to WBNB. Pancake launch market cap, 888,000. This price is estimated given that one WBNB equals 395, one Thoreum equals this price. So they're just really breaking everything down. Advantages for buying in this pre-sale: you are buying at the best price. That is to say, from where the price starts, because up to where it goes up, that has no limit. So, just the obvious advantage of all pre-sales, you're buying before it's launched. And again, because it's an ITO, not a typical pre-sale, you're guaranteed a position. Like I was talking about earlier, as long as you commit some, you're guaranteed a position, which is different than a lot of pre-sales where you might not get in at all. Number two, free of 18% transaction fee. When you participate in the ITO, there's no transaction fee when you buy in Pancake. And then also the pre-sale price, if you commit using Thoreum or Thundercake, as I was just talking about, is 5% lower compared to committing with WBNB. And that's why, again, a lot more people are using Thundercake or Thoreum to participate than you see are using WBNB. I maximized all of them. And that actually helps me because a lot of people don't really know this that are aping into all this stuff. But because I use WBNB and it's only 383% over as compared to this Thundercake one being 1,100% over, I'm actually going to get more ThunderBNB tokens, right? Because I'm not competing with as many people on this one. And on this one, I'll get the least amount of ThunderBNB tokens because the most people aped into using Thundercake to participate in this. And I can only theorize that the reason why is because if you look at the chart, they're probably saying like, okay, this one hasn't been out on the market as long. The market cap's only at 5 million, whereas Thoreum, the market cap's much higher, 43 million. And they don't really understand how the ecosystem works. So it makes sense why. And it was my initial thoughts too. Initially I was only going to participate in the ThunderBNB ITO with Thundercake because the market cap was lower. But as I understood, okay, well, I'm actually getting less ThunderBNB because more people are having the same idea, which is part of the genius behind this whole system. I went and then bought Thoreum and made sure I participated with WBNB too. Because Thoreum, it's only 5 or 6 times over what they're raising. So I'm going to get more ThunderBNB because there's less people competing for that one. That's why I did all 3. Hopefully this makes sense. If you have any questions or things don't make sense, ask me in the comments below. I want to make sure as many people, particularly those who are new, less experienced, make sure you understand this because again, while this in no way replaces my crypto pre-sale strategy, in no way would I ever put all my eggs in one basket. This is one of the main ones I'm going to be building a position in, one of very few. And I'm going to be using a percentage of my earnings that I'm going to continue to get by participating in the crypto pre-sale strategy. Every day we look at these together in Tribe 100X, what's launching, what's coming out. Like someone had posted about Thoreum. We had lots of discussion all the way back in June, and there are so many others that I actually got in early. There were just so many, like I talked about before, mini Doge being one of them that 100x in a few days, Everrise at over 50x, Baby Cake 100x in 5 days. And there were just so many. I'm going to continue to use our Tribe 100x community to identify those with the community and get into those. And I'm going to take a percentage of that. I'm going to be building a position in Thoreum, Thundercake, and now ThunderBNB, which I'm getting into the ITO with right now. So as far as a step-by-step for how to participate in this, you got to decide, do you want to use WBNB? Do you want to use Thundercake, or do you want to use Thoreum? And so if you use WBNB at the time that I'm recording this, you would get the most, if you're only going to do one, you would get the most allocation of ThunderBNB if you're only going to do one of these, because less people are competing for this one. But then you're not getting in on, the price action that we're continuing to see, with Thoreum, for example. And with Thundercake, that's done a 3x in 9 days. And so, depending on what resources you have to work with and what your goals are, you might want to put a little bit into each of them, just so you have a little Thundercake and Thoreum, which you could start staking in the Thunder Boost that I showed you earlier. Remember Thunder Boost, because you got a little Thoreum. I should be clear, you're using a Thoreum when you commit your Thoreum here, or you commit your Thundercake here, or you commit your WBNB to participate in the ThunderBNB ITO or any future ITO they do. You're spending your WBNB, Thundercake, and Thoreum, obviously, with whatever you end up buying. But what I'm saying is you're going to get back whatever you didn't end up buying. So when they're over what they're raising, you're going to get a lot back. And this one, I'm going to get a lot of Thundercake back. And so when I get it back, when I get Thundercake back, and this is what you might want to consider as well, is buying these. Again, not recommending you do it. I'm just making sure you understand how it works. If you bought Thundercake, and you committed some, and you got, and you got participated a little bit in the ThunderBNB launch because you were a part of it, but then they gave you some of the Thundercake back, because maybe they weren't able to use it all, because you just get a percentage of it purchased when they go over, and you get a lot of that Thundercake back. What I'm saying is you're going to get paid cake rewards, and you're going to get paid Thoreum rewards. And you're also going to see, if the price continues to go up, as I believe it will, that benefit. If you get Thoreum, same thing. Like if you commit some of it, you're going to get some of it back if they're not able to utilize it all. And we can see that they wouldn't. So you get a proportionately fair amount of ThunderBNB in comparison to everyone else who participated. You get some Thoreum back, and then you could stake that in Thunder Boost, which I showed you earlier would pay you cake rewards and more Thoreum rewards, or you could stake that Thoreum in the vault, which I showed you earlier would pay you more Thoreum, which you could then take those compounding returns and put into Thunder Boost, right? So, if you're just going to participate in one, yes, you could just do the WBNB is what I'm saying, and you would get more ThunderBNB if you're only going to participate in one of these slots. What I'm saying is you might want to consider Thundercake and Thoreum for those other advantages, for actually holding them, having the benefits of the cake rewards and Thoreum rewards and price action benefits of Thundercake, and the price action benefits of Thoreum, and the Thunder Boost benefits of Thoreum, and the Thunder Vault benefits of Thoreum. So it's something for you to think about. But I just wanted to share how this works. When you want to participate in ThunderBNB or a future launchpad, you would hit commit funds. And you'd first have to, have the WBNB in your wallet, or the Thundercake if you're doing this one in your wallet, or the Thoreum in your wallet. And then you hit commit funds, and you can choose how much you want to add. I can't add any more now, but I would enter how much I want to add, or I'd hit maximum, and then you hit confirm. Your wallet would open up, and there's a very small, very, very, very small gas fee just to do the transaction, and voila. And then you're just waiting for the ITO and for them to show you how many, you got. Based on what everyone else put in. And then you would get back whatever it didn't spend when they go over. And in this case, I'll be getting a lot back, but I will have maximized, because I maximized the limit for each one. I'll be maximizing how much ThunderBNB I can get. Hopefully this was helpful. It is definitely a mouthful and a lot to get through. And I wanted to make it for the non-technicals. Technical people who are experienced could just read the site. You don't need a video like this. I wanted to make this for everybody else who's fairly new to the process. I'm not a financial advisor, I will say again. I'm not recommending you buy anything. I never recommend you buy anything. I just share with you why I'm doing what I'm doing. You got to do your own research, make your own decisions. And if you need advice, you got to hire a financial advisor. Those are the people that are allowed to give advice. But this can be part of just your, learning what other people are doing, seeing what other people are doing and why, and maybe that's helpful in some way. But your decisions and not financial advice or recommendation to buy this. So I think this is going to the moon. I've been wrong a few times, but not usually when I feel this strongly about it and I see these kinds of things in place. I got into Safemoon 3 weeks before or after it launched, just before it really mooned, when a lot of people were saying, oh, it's not going to go any higher. Then I moved to Elongate and it went nuts, skyrocketed. Again, with that led me to want to put together a community that collaborates in Tribe 100X on, we have a dump truck where we all put, everything that we see launching. Then we have a bucket where people who are qualified, that are experienced, have a specific format that they drop things into. Like I showed you the Thoreum one. And then vetters that are even more qualified, then put it in they go do more research on these projects. And then we have insiders that are meeting together on a regular basis, almost every day, discussing these projects and sharing their notes with the entire community of what we're seeing. And then we've got a calendar where those that are contributing to this process, that are putting things in the bucket or vetting or doing technical analysis, that's another section that we have. They get this calendar that's like really organized, showing everything that's launching day by day, week by week. When there's date changes to those pre-sales, it all gets updated. Then we have insider chat where the insiders are discussing all this stuff leading up right to the launch. Like, this is extremely helpful, right? And that's just the beginning. From pre-sales to micro caps, we focus in on reward tokens a lot because, and highlight those because they've been doing so well. We have a list of the teams and the devs that are, doing really good. So when they come out with a project, like when Mini Doge came out, we knew it would do well because they did cream pie very successfully. And there's lots of examples of that. Rug pulls, we start to see, concerns of a rug pull. We share it here. Just highly, 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 highly organized. And what I'm getting at is I'm going to continue using that to identify pre-sales with the community, continue making those insane returns on these pre-sales. We call it RIP or RIP FT. Very quickly within 24 hours, you can recoup investment. That's the RI and RIP, and then take profits, and then you rip on out of there. Or if you like what you see, you RIP FT, you recoup investment, profit, and leave in free tokens that are now no risk to you because you've already profited. And within 24 hours of getting into the ding thing, you've already you could just leave those free tokens in there to keep selling as it continues to go up. We call that RIP FT if you kind of like what you see. And that's what I did with Mini Doge, Everrise, Baby Cake, Kitty Cake. I got out of there early, made huge returns, then moved over to Fat Cake, which I really like. So I'm actually building a position there. I'm only building a position in a couple of them: Fat Cake, now Thoreum, and possibly Blissful Planet. But I don't want to build positions in a lot of them. I don't need to. The biggest returns are coming from the pre-sales so far. But then if you do find a safe moon, before it's a safe moon, before everybody knows, which I believe this is, that's where it can just be nuts. But you don't want to only gamble on that, because the pre-sale strategy is a way just to continue profit, 2x, 5x, 10x, sometimes 100x. And then you take a percentage of those returns and you take it for profit, like put it aside, wait for the market to do the big bear crash. So that's just building up. So you could always use that, or a rainy day fund, I call it. You also take a percentage of those pre-sale funds and you put it into like projects that you're building a position in, like this, which should only be a handful. And then another percentage you keep building your pre-sales fund. It's just working extremely well. I'll put a link below if you're interested in our Tribe 100X collaboration. Again, no recommendations to buy. We can't make those recommendations. You have to hire a financial advisor if you want someone to be able to advise you. But as a collaboration following the same strategy, it's just been extremely, extremely effective. I mean, it's just been bizarre almost how well people are doing in there. So we're having fun with it. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions about the ThunderBNB launch. We're coming up short on the launch. I didn't find out about it till last night. I didn't dive into this. I had ripped this project after it launched, made a good return, got out of there, but then I returned to it after I saw this chart. And I'm really excited that I studied it for the many hours that I did. I just wanted to pass it all on to you. If you missed this Thunder, I was going to go back to some of these other pages, but it's really not necessary. I covered everything. If you missed the ThunderBNB ITO, there will be future launches, and there's certainly plenty of other things from, Thoreum's price rise to Thunder Cake's price rise to now there'll be ThunderBNB. and these paying you rewards, like ThunderCake, for example, paying Cake and Thoreum rewards, ThunderBNB paying BNB and Thoreum rewards, Thoreum obviously having the Thunder Boost and the Thunder Vault, and this the whole platform and DeFi, concept that has all of these creating an ever-growing market, price floor increasing, and stability because it's an entire ecosystem. And again, while it's a different kind of culture than I think what you might be used to if you like Safemoon and a lot of personality behind it, I actually like this better in the sense that while you don't get as much personality, you do still see voice chats from the community. I know that the founder of it was very out in front, but now he's just focused on development, and it's really taking on a life of its own as a standalone DeFi project that runs and works the way it's supposed to. And that's really the big promise. They call it a trustless system where you don't have to trust people in order for you to get the results and the gains and the returns and to see things work the way you want to work. That was the big promise of smart contracts. And with the CertiK audit, while it's no guarantee, but the fact that they have a CertiK audit already done, passed with flying colors, definitely says a lot about the integrity of this smart contract at the best you can do. And looking at, again, the channel and starting to curve up here, I'll look at what our technical analysis people have to say in our TA channel, maybe do another video just based on that. But this, no matter how you look at it, you don't need to have a lot of experience to see. This is a pretty unusual, awesome chart, to say the least. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions about ThunderBNB, ThunderCake, the ecosystem, the platform, how they all work together, Thunder Vault, Thunder Boost, and Thoreum itself, or how to participate in the ITO. If you missed this one, maybe a future one that's coming up, you can ask me below and I'll keep my eye out and answer. But yeah, good luck out there. And hopefully I'll see you in Tribe 100X.